Welcome back on this Saturday morning. TikTok users are waiting and watching to see if that potential ban or sale in the United States will happen. While TikTok's parent company, ByteDance, says right now they don't plan on selling. And that hasn't stopped Americans from speculating and considering purchasing the popular social media platform. Here to break down all the options is Michelle Castillo, CNBC reporter and president of TIWWG. Michelle, my friend, welcome.
Thanks so much for having me.
Let's talk TikTok. ByteDance says they don't plan on selling. Are they going to stick to that, in your opinion?
Well, it all seems like they don't want to sell at least their U.S. assets. We did see on Tutao, which is a social media platform, that they denied a information report that said they were planning on selling in the U.S., at least without their famous algorithm. This also echoes other things. Their general counsel, Eric Anderson, is stepping down. He's going to become special counsel. Now, Anderson was really in charge of making sure that TikTok had good relations with the U.S. government. That's obviously gone south. So now Anderson is going to be focused on fighting in the legal system this potential TikTok ban. So it does show they're ready for a fight. This all follows Shou Chu, the CEO, on TikTok, making a statement earlier this week saying that they do not plan on leaving the U.S. and they plan on fighting in the courts. And it has been unconstitutional in the past to ban TikTok.
You and I have talked in the past about our love for TikTok and how much time we spend on TikTok, but would it be the same without the algorithm that this app is known for?
Well, that's the $100 million question,
Right.
$1 billion question, actually. So TikTok is really known for that algorithm. That's what makes it so special. And the idea that they would sell this without the algorithm, you will get some branding boost, but it is going to greatly diminish the value of TikTok. So right now, analysts are, the last valuation of TikTok was in December 2023, when they were about to do a $5 billion stock buyback. It was valued at about $268 billion. Now, TikTok can't expect to get that much money if they're going to sell it. Other analysts, Wedbush, have put it at around $100 million, but that's with that valuable algorithm. If they do decide to sell, which it doesn't seem likely, it's going to go for much less than that if they don't have that formula.
Let's talk economic impact for TikTok. This is a lot of money. $24 billion added to the U.S. GDP in 2023. $24 billion. How much would it cost realistically to buy TikTok, in your opinion, Michelle?
So there is that $100 billion valuation that Wedbush and other analysts have been throwing around. But again, that's with the algorithm. What we're actually going to be looking at is if they decide to sell it without the algorithm. That's going to bring the value down drastically, $20 to $30 billion range without, you get the brand value because people, there's a lot of user base, it's about 170 million daily active users here in the US. It did do pretty good on ad sales. It accounts for about 20% of the company's revenue. I think that puts it at about $30 million when ad revenue, but still not quite that valuation that they're going to get it.
Would it hurt the U.S. economy if TikTok is ultimately banned here?
Now, when you look at social media advertising in general, TikTok isn't the top player. They're still being overseeded by companies like Google and Facebook. However, but there is a vibrant community that's on there. They are doing well for small businesses. You do see a lot of shopping on TikTok. So it will hurt some of these small businesses that rely on TikTok for their main advertising. But a lot of people I've been talking to have been diversifying their social media. They've been cross-posting a lot in case this scenario happens.
What are some of the, who are some of the names that we are looking at as potential buyers for TikTok?
Oh, this is the fun part for me.
This is the fun part.
This is the gossip part.
Yes, agreed.
So let's start with the actual people that we've heard.
And they're on our
tossed
screen
right now.
Yeah.
So Steve Mnuchin has said he's been interested in buying TikTok. He hasn't put a price out there, and there's some questions about him because he was on the Trump panel that looked into banning TikTok initially. So there might be some conflict of interest there. He didn't put a price on it, but he has signaled he's willing to buy TikTok without that algorithm.
What about Kevin O'Leary?
Kevin O'Leary also, he actually put a $20 to $30 billion price tag on that. He also said he's willing to buy without the algorithm. I know Bill Ackman has been tossed around. I don't believe he's going to buy it because he's been pretty critical about TikTok in the past. Just in October, he was critical about how he felt they were slanting more towards pro-Palestinian content, but he's been anti-social media in general. And then, of course, there's Bobby Kotick, former CEO of Activision. He, according to the Wall Street Journal, was at a dinner, said that he had Sam Altman from OpenAI and him were willing to do a bid. He talked to TikTok about it, but again, these are all rumors.
Michelle, I have 30 seconds. I want to ask you, what's the timeline on this? When do we expect to see any movement?
Well, according to the bill, we are considering that TikTok ban could happen on January 19th, which would be the last day that President Biden is in office. However, Biden can decide to extend it for another 3 months, leaving that to the next administration or his administration. I guess we're going to have to see who wins in November 2024 and what Biden's going to decide.
Thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.